Okay, guys, let's just do this. This is take 152, literally. Okay, guys, welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Tamar, also known as Unit Tay, and today I'm going to share with you my dyslexic journey. That's right, I am dyslexic. I am dyslexic and proud. Dyslexia makes up who I am as an individual, as a woman, as a creative also. And this is the very first time I'm going to be up close and personal with you guys right now because there's so much I am burning to share with you. I'm low-key excited because I know there are tons of dyslexic adults out there who struggle to express themselves, may not have the confidence or the tools to not only speak up and use their voice, but to share their story and their journey too. And it's been on my mind for so many months that I just thought, you know what, let's just do this. Let's do this. And fun fact, today, getting this started has took me a good 3 hours just to prepare. Every time I'm talking, I'm mumbling my words. I can't pronounce certain things and I'm stopping and pausing. So that's why I was like, this is take 152. Let's go anyway. So I'm going to share with you my dyslexic experience and my dyslexic journey from childhood to adulthood. And there's so much from childhood to adulthood with dyslexia, first of all. And what I'm hoping is that I can give you the confidence, you the tools, and also to enlighten you also. Or maybe you know other individuals out there who are dyslexic. Yeah? So, first things first, the million-dollar question. What is dyslexia? Dyslexia is a specific learning difficulty, or also known as SEN in the UK, or SPLD, these different keywords in the UK. Dyslexia affects 1 in 10 or 1 in 5 individuals in the UK, which is a lot. People with dyslexia mainly struggle and have difficulties with reading, writing, and or spelling. Okay? It is not, repeat, it is not connected to intelligence. And I really wanted to say that first because I don't know where this myth has come from, this big fat horrible lie that if you have dyslexia, you struggle with reading, writing or spelling, you are not intelligent enough. I have been told that by, people around me and the environment around me from a very young age. And I know many others out there with dyslexia or any other specific learning needs that we're not smart enough. We're not intelligent enough. I'm going to debunk that right now because it's so not true. Dyslexia is what makes the world go around. I'm going to say it for what it is. And I'm not apologizing for being biased because we are very creative. We are also highly intelligent, first of all. Let me just say that and get that off my chest. We've got the analysing side on the right side of our brain. And then on the left side of our brain, we have the creative side. We just tend to use the left side a lot more. That's all, guys. We just use a different part of our brain in a different way. Yeah? In a nutshell, with dyslexia, it's also like, how do I say this? It's how we use language, yeah? Not language as in the English language versus French versus Spanish. It's our day-to-day lives, how we communicate with one another, how we communicate with information on the page or maybe on a website, how we see and perceive language, our time process to use the language in front of us, our comprehension also, our organizational skills and planning skills, which is, again, the right side of our brain, the analyzing side. Dyslexia really is our brains working in a different way. And it can be difficult for us if we don't have the support around us, if we don't have the right tools around us, especially if we don't have access also to gain support. And now this, like I said, from childhood to adulthood, I'm going to be talking about today, mainly around childhood and my early years, because, dyslexia can be found very early in children, and then you've got adolescents, or should we say teenagers, keep it simple, teenagers, and then adulthood. So if we do not have access or even the support from family, networks, friends, teachers, from school education going right up to work, it can be a very difficult and challenging livelihoods for us. Yeah, I'm going to debunk it right now. So I just wanted to say that first. First things first, my childhood experience with dyslexia, guys. I'm going to share with you my earliest memory where I felt different. And when I mean different, I felt like I either didn't fit in or I felt like I just wasn't as smart as the other kids. So I want to talk about my early experiences versus my mother's early experiences with me and what she observed of me, because it's two very different outlooks. And yeah, it's really interesting. So number one, my earliest experience to realizing that I am somewhat different, is in primary school when I noticed that I was always placed on this separate table to most other pupils in the classroom. And this table has an assistant teacher. This assistant teacher was actually a special education needs teacher. I didn't know that. I didn't even know what SEN even meant. Nobody was even saying SEN back then, first of all. And this assistant teacher, I really liked her. She was really nice and helpful. She was very warm and welcoming, which is a good thing. She would sit at our table with me and like 5 other friends of mine in primary school, and she would always read things to us. She would read it aloud. She would always repeat things. She would always give us different colours, like coloured paper, different books, different pencils that I noticed were different to the other pupils in the class. And I noticed we always used to sit on the left side in this one corner, and then everybody else didn't need or didn't have access to this assistant teacher. And I was always curious as a child. I wasn't upset. I wasn't going home crying saying, Mum, I'm sitting at this table with the same people all the time, with this same extra teacher. Who is she? What's going on? I wasn't complaining about it. Do you know what I mean? I had a good time. However, as a child, it's really hard for children to really access into how they're really feeling. And it's just giving a child a confidence to ask questions also. So that was my early memory in primary school. And what I could also say, nobody told me I had dyslexia. Nobody told me. I never even knew the word existed, first of all, in primary school. And yeah. Now, my mother's observation of me started a lot sooner. So I've just shared with you my personal experience, and that was when I must have been year 5, year 6. So how old is that? In the UK, year 5, year 6, that's key stage 2. So we're talking between ages 9 to like 11, 9, 10, 11. That's my memory. My mother's of relevant and correct memory was when I was 3 years old. That's a huge difference, guys. So when I was 3 years old, based on my mother's observation and what obviously the experience with me, mother-daughter, was that I wasn't picking up any silent sounds. Now, not through reading a book or language, like any kind of reading book, or when mom's talking to me, like just sounds generally at home. My mom would say, for example, she would be in the kitchen, I'll be in the living room, and my mom would call me and I just wouldn't answer. So she was like, Tamer, come on, as a 3-4-year-old, as a toddler, and I just wouldn't answer. I look at her and I wasn't responding at all. She'd say if something dropped on the floor, I wouldn't jump up or look. And the phone was ringing, I wouldn't turn and look. And she got concerned and she was like, this is a recurring thing in my daughter. She's not picking up any of the sounds, not even subtle sounds or loud sounds. Long story short, I was then diagnosed with a condition called glue ear, which is quite common in many young children. Now, what is glue ear? So guys, I've Googled it for you. I know what it is, but I wanted to be precise and on point with my facts on what glue ear is. Here's a quick overview. Glue ear is where the empty middle part of the ear canal fills up with fluid. It's more common in children, but adults can sometimes get glue ear too. The main symptom of glue ear is a temporary loss of hearing in one or both ears. Glue ear often gets better on its own. If needed, a GP may suggest treatment to drain the fluid, such as blowing up a small balloon using your nose. What? Scrap that last part. Anyway, that's what glue ear is. The causes of glue ear is when the thick fluid builds up inside the middle of your ear. As with general ear infections, glue ear tends to be more common in children. Yep. If it's not treated, now scrap that, let's go. Is glue ear a disability? If your child's glue ear is likely to or has lasted for at least 12 months without clearing up, then your child may be regarded as having a disability under the Equality Act. Boom, in your face. Now, next part, guys. Now, why am I sharing this with you? The reason why I'm sharing this with you, glue ear, as I just said, it impacts one or both of your ears and causes loss. If it causes a loss of hearing, guys, a temporary loss of hearing, hard of hearing, it also can impact on your language and speech, and it can delay, which is what happened to me. And as a result of that delaying on my language development, my processing development also, that also impacted on my behavior in the classroom and how I interpreted language, how I not only interpreted language in the classroom, but actually, like when it came to reading and writing and spelling, if I can't hear the sounds, the silent sounds, and in the English language we're famous for phonics. Who loves phonics? I don't. Then obviously it causes a knock-on effect, like a domino effect, which it did in my case. Yeah. So fun fact, guys, when it comes to glue ear and how it can cause in learning difficulties. So for many children, they will have occasional episodes of glue ear and there is no noticeable impact at all. You may never know that they had it. However, for some children like myself, it can have a significant impact on their speech and language development. I had a specialist coach as an infant and throughout primary school who was a language and speech coach. And I'll never forget, I used to go and see her. And we used to go in this like nice, I don't know if it was a community centre or there was like this room and it was very colourful. And I'll never forget, I'll do all sorts of tasks that's to do with my hearing and my speech. Now, when I went there, even though I had a great time as a child, as I remember, I never knew why I was there. They didn't make it obvious to me that I was different as I was there, you know, as a test. I just assumed I was there as a child because it was something fun to do, like an extracurricular activity, which may sound like a good thing, but now as an adult, as I self-reflect and look back at that in relation to my dyslexic journey and experience, I have found it to be, I don't want to say like disappointed or like a bit of a mistake. It's kind of like just tell the child what's up and what's going on. Let them know from a very young age who they are, because this makes up a huge part of their identity. It can also give them the confidence to stand in their identity, know who they are, be self-educated as well, and conquer all of those ignorant individuals out there later on in life, which is what I had to put up with. A lot of people telling me, you know, especially in high school, oh there's Tamar with the dumb group. And I'll never forget, I overheard that before, and that stayed with me for a very long time, that I assumed that I always just hang around with all the other dumb people, and they're not. I'm not dumb, you are not dumb. And the group of people they were referring to in high school were those who also had special education needs like me. You know, I've also had it in the workplace over the years as an adult, where I've had managers have the nerve to tell me, Tamar, you need to do the task quicker. No, I don't need to do the task quicker. You need to adapt the task in order for me to fulfill at my, not only at my pace, but appropriately, accordingly, so that I can do the job to its best ability and give it justice. So I'm just giving you some random examples how later on in life, you know, how individuals in society are not educated enough about special needs, and then also about dyslexia. And as an individual with those needs, you're not given the tools, you're not given the confidence and the aid to speak up, know who you are, stand your ground in who you are with pride. Anyway, I'm just saying that. Moving on. But I just wanted to first just say, and I'm sorry this is going on for so long, I really wanted to move forward on this anyway. I just want to share with you my early experiences from what I remember versus from what my mother remembers, because it does link. I had glue ear or ears. It's just called glue ear, whatever. Yeah, anyway. And how that is closely connected to my speech and language. And then it delayed on that throughout my schooling years, especially in phonics sounds, in speaking out and pronouncing words, and then also spelling words as well, which is still a struggle to me today as an adult. So, boom, pop, pow, I've said that for what it is. Let's move on to the next. Anyway, I got my notes right here, so I remember what I'm going to say next. One moment. Okay, so later on in my schooling years, so I want to share things that stood out to me, that was significant, that stayed with me for such a long time, that upset me, that made me feel so different, that I didn't like being different. But now I like being different as an adult, because I've learned to overcome, I've learned to accept who I am as well as a dyslexic individual. For example, in primary school, like I said earlier, the kids who need more support I put on this table. I don't know what it's like today in the 21st century, because I'm going back to the 1990s, guys, where there wasn't a lot of technology, advanced technology to assist and aid like there is today. So in the 1990s, you know, we had like the 5-6 tables in every class. It's the same in high school as well. And based on your grade, you will sit at a certain table based on your grade. Let's say grade 1 to 5. And I hate to say 1 being the lowest grade, like below average, and 5 being above average, for example. Now, as a very young child, I already got it. I already knew what they were doing. I knew what the SATs were about. I knew what the exams or all that stuff about. But I didn't know how to articulate that. I didn't know how to ask questions. I didn't know how to say why. Why is this way? And because I was sitting at this table throughout, like Key Stage 2, for instance, with the same pupils who were my friends, at the same table with this assistant teacher, and I used to feel just exposed. I hated it. I felt so exposed. The pupils on my table, they were all lovely. We had fun together because we shared the same similarity. We had the same identity. The teacher was really nice, but I still didn't like that feeling of that exposure. And as a result of that, I struggled to speak up and put my hand up if I wanted to answer a question in the class, you know, because I was afraid that I'd get it wrong. I was afraid that I wouldn't be able to pronounce the word. I'd be afraid that I didn't get it right, especially in maths. Oh, we can get on to maths if you want to, because maths anxiety in the world of neurodiversity and dyslexia definitely is a thing. I'd say it's more dyscalculia. Dyscalculia or dyscalculia? I forgot already. So there's that, and then you have dyspraxia also. You've got ADHD, autism, and there's so many different specific learning needs that are all centered and come from the brain, guys. This is the way the brain works. So all of these different kind of nuances within that bracket, I just knew I was different. I knew something was up. I just got on with it anyway. And that really isn't the way forward. We want to empower our, especially if they have SEN, special education need. Yep. Next thing is, when I went to high school, oh, lordy. High school changed. I changed. The environment changed. I'm going to sit back. I'm sitting forward. 1 minute. Oh, that feels so much better. Okay, so going into high school, it was a not so great experience. I had great experiences, but it wasn't as fun as primary school, obviously, because when you're at primary school, you're living the easy life. It's all colours and playtime and go home and your dinner's ready for you and off to bed. Really living the easy life for young people. Do you know what I mean? High school was peer pressure. That's it. It's peer pressure. It's that teenage. It's where you develop that sense of identity, that self-image, whether that's a good or a poor self-image of yourself. It's also about fitting in, wanting to be part of the popular group. And I was the one that tried so hard to do all of those good things to distract myself or to move away from this kind of special pupil. I didn't want to be special. I didn't want to be treated differently. I just wanted to be normal, you know? So in high school, I remember, again, at that, not only we wasn't at different tables, I was taken out of class. So I was exposed even more, guys, with the same pupils. And these same pupils, again, we were friends. So there was no hard feeling with them as individuals at all. And with that special education need teacher, no problem to that teacher because they did a great job. They made us feel comfortable in our own environment together. But it felt like everything we were doing was separate. It felt like here's this school, then here's the classroom with the SEN pupils over there. It was so far opposite, you know, to the point where there were some days I didn't really want to go to school on certain days because I'd be taken out of class. I think it was once or twice a week, I think, from year 7 right up to year 11, which is a good couple of years, a good 5 years or so. And sometimes I'd be taken out of class where I wanted to stay in the class and I was excited about whatever I was learning, whatever project it was. And you'd think that the pupils would laugh and point and be like, oh, you know, you're stupid, you're silly, you're dumb. That's why you have to go in that other classroom. Because the other pupils knew. What I experienced was different. I had some pupils who were not only ignorant, but they didn't know any better. Like they didn't really know what was going on in this other classroom with other SEN pupils. Their eyes, they were somewhat jealous. It's like they wanted to be, I want to say marginalized. It's like they wanted to be exposed. It's like, why are you, no, I don't even know where I'm going with this. It's almost like, to them, it was like, why are you skiving a class? I'll never forget one pupil said that to me. I think I was in year 8 and I was taking out one of the English classes. And one of the pupils was a bit like, oh, what do you get to skive class for? I said, who's skiving class where? I don't walk out of the class. The assistant teacher comes to the class, calls out the names that they need, and we follow them to the other classroom. Are you stupid? I'll never forget, like, that's exactly what I said. But I had some pupils who were a bit like, oh, you get to skip class. Like, who do you think you are? Kind of like this jealousy attitude. And then that didn't really help because it made me shrink myself even more because I didn't want to draw attention to me. I hope what I'm saying right now makes sense to you guys. I also hope that you can relate to what I'm saying, especially if you're based in the UK. So I know I've got a lot of international listeners, but if you're based in the UK, you know what the education system's like. You know, you were in school over in the 90s and the early 2000s. Yeah. Oh my God, 2000s. Anyway, sorry, losing focus. Anyway, yeah. You get where I'm going with this. So, what I can say, one moment, checking my notes, making sure that I'm staying on point with what I'm trying to say. Yeah, so those experiences in high school were very strange and I became very disruptive. I became sorry, Mum, very disruptive because I was sent to detention so many times. I was suspended. Now everybody knows. I was suspended for a period of time in high school as well, which again is to do with disruptive behavior, attitude. My name would always be on the board. I was, you know, taken out of class in not only detention like after school, but another room like detention during school where I had to miss lunch or break time or another class just because of my attitude. Now, I'm going to say it for what it is, guys. Like, some people know me already. You know. Number one, guys, If I've got something to say, I'm going to say it. I'm not trying to justify my bad behavior. It wasn't bad behavior. But number one, some teachers didn't get it. Some teachers didn't have any patience. Teachers, what? Some teachers probably didn't have the education or the tools themselves or any assistance that I could realize now as an adult. But obviously then, they just came across as they didn't want to understand me. So I answered back because they didn't understand me, and I was frustrated and I was offended, yeah, by some of the teachers, number one. And then other things, I just wasn't doing the work quick enough. I wasn't doing the work the way they envisioned it to be, because teachers and the education system, the way I look at it, there's an agenda. They have their agenda, and let's meet it. Let's not adapt it to the individual needs. There's an agenda, and I don't like it. Anyway, the thing is with dyslexia, like I said at the very beginning of this video, we've got the right and the left side of the brain, the planning, the analysing, and then you've got the creativity and the flowness, attitude to life type of thing. Now, we are highly creative. I'm very, very creative. I have so many creative ideas that bounce off the wall every single day, literally. And I do feel like that stems from me being dyslexic. But I can also say that doesn't take away how intelligent or not so intelligent we are. It's not linked to that. People seem to think that we're not academic. I've come across a lot of other dyslexic individuals who don't see themselves as academic at all, which is fine. But, and I don't want to say but, we can be, and we are academic in different ways too. I love academia, by the way. And throughout school, history, geography, literacy were like my favourite subjects, like the very hard topics type of subjects were my favourite. However, the way I approached those classes were all very, very different. Yeah, they were all very, very different. So, where am I going with this, girl? Where am I going? You see how my mind just drifts so quickly? I have to check my notes every 2 minutes to make sure I'm making sense. Yeah, so I love the very hard topics that I found and thought were very academic. That doesn't make me any less creative. That's what I'm trying to say. I just like both sides of my brain. That's all for me personally. And I was also into drama. Now listen to this, guys. GCSE. Let's talk about GCSE. So I left school with only 2 GCSEs. I left school with 2 GCSEs. And in the UK, by the way, guys, we're told, I don't know what it's like today though, in 2022, I left school very long time ago. When I was at school, it was, you have to get 5 GCSEs. And I cannot tell you how much anxiety that were put on my chest, how much I panicked, how much I felt like a failure. I really suffered with this fear of failure mode throughout high school. Well, coming towards the end of high school and then into college, I felt like I would fail if I didn't achieve 5 GCSEs. And I left with 2 and I felt ashamed. I don't feel ashamed now, but for many, many, many years after I left school, I say for the first 3 to 4 years after leaving school, so that's like throughout college, literally like the first year of university or something, I felt ashamed, and I'll never tell anyone. I'd avoid conversations about GCSEs, or I'd lie. The reasons why I didn't like it and why I don't like that type of system in the UK, and by the way, if you're not from the UK, like GCSEs is kind of like your final exams at school before you enter into the big bad world. So you go to college, typically, you don't have to, so the traditional form is you finish school, you go to college, and then, or sixth form, which is kind of like an add-on school education, further education, and then you go to university, higher education, and then you get a job. That's the traditional kind of protocol to life. It doesn't have to be that way. Things are changing now, guys. So back to GCSEs. I didn't like trying, to force myself to get 5 because I didn't know. I didn't get 5, I got 2. And they said that you can't get into sixth form if you don't have 5. So I didn't apply to go to sixth form. I never went to sixth form, guys. I went straight to college and I just did dance and music because I thought I love dancing. I love music. I could dance, Yeah. And I was still shamed upon or frowned upon by many family, friends, people at like work, or just people just around me in the environment, I suppose, that would look down on me for studying dance. It's like, oh, what are you gonna get out of dance? And I'm like, gosh, give me a break. Back off. Back off, guys. Do you know what I mean? Um, so you want to know what GCSEs I passed on? Oh, I just can't wait to share. I'm so proud. I passed my RE, which is Religious Education Studies and Drama, because clearly I'm a drama queen, as some people say. And I'll be like, yeah, I am. And what? So with my drama, I got an A, and I was like 5 marks off an A star. I never forget my teacher, my drama teacher told me, and I always bump into her still to this day in like the neighborhood, bless her. So I wasn't so far off an A star, and I was like, listen up, man, I only got 2 GCSEs, just give me the star. Just give me the star. You know what I mean? A star pupil. So, but what does that say? That in performing arts and in those kind of performative and or artistic um, subjects, I was excelling really well. And I didn't realize I was excelling really well. I just enjoyed it even more. So I just thought, oh, because I just love it and I'm good at it. Now, it's like, again, it's that creativity. It's like we show up and learn and perceive language in so many different ways. And I was doing very, very well in drama. Dance GCSE did not exist when I was at school, by the way. There's many different types of GCSEs now that I find very artistic. And I'm so pleased that young people get to be involved, participate, and express themselves in those different art forms. Back then, when I was at school, all those other stuff didn't really exist, which is fine. But I got an A in drama, guys, and I was proud, so proud to this day with that GCSE. RE is a different thing. So obviously, it's not just religious education. There was also topics around sociology, like society itself. You know, the things that have real life experiences in society. For example, crime, obviously, gangs, drugs. We talked about all that stuff in RE when I was at school, and I was not clued up, guys, not in that way clued up, but I was really interested in society. So that's my kind of right side of the brain. I was very, the academia side. Oh, battery low. Never mind. So I got a B. I think it was a B or an A. Yeah, I got a B in RE and an A in drama. Could you believe it, guys? The two only GCSEs I got were high level GCSEs. In English, I got a D, but I went back to reset my English 1 year later and I passed with a C. So I felt blessed. And then when it comes to maths and science and all these other different subjects, I did business studies as well. I did DT, which is like design technology or something like that. All those different things I did, I got like an E. And in the business studies, the blasted teacher gave me an F. I didn't like her anyway. I was like, get out of my face. Sure. And I back then I looked at it like they were spiting me. I didn't like them. They know I didn't like them. So I was like, you gave me a poor grade because of that. But really, when I look back at that, I didn't get any support. I didn't get any, it's not like just physical support, like a teacher being there to help read through things and go through things and process. What I looked at it as I didn't have any access and I didn't have any confidence as well to use my voice. I don't know if my mum really knew what I was going through because maybe I didn't tell her, or the teachers weren't giving her access, and that real support as a parent and how she could support us and giving that agency, to develop me also in those other areas at school. This is really emotional, guys. I know I'm talking fluently, but deep down, this is quite emotional, me having to go back talking about my experiences at school, like high school, especially around GCSE. It really hurt me and it bothers me so much that pupils are made to feel like if they don't achieve those certain amounts of kind of GCSEs and passing the exams, then they're going to fail in life. What a load of rubbish. I've gone on to, I've got a degree. And I don't say it in that way like, hey, look at me, guys, I got a degree. Hey. No, it's kind of like I feel like going back to school and be like, but look at me now. I'm ready to go and do my masters. I've been wanting to do my masters for a few years actually. So it's just a bit like it doesn't make any sense. What I can say is, what the one thing I do agree with GCSEs is the fact that I do agree passing your maths and English, like the basics that you need, or at least giving like this confidence around maths and English because we do use it day to day, every single day without even realizing it. Do you know what I mean? So that I do agree with. Everything else, mwah, get out of my way. Okay, guys, I think I've talked long enough. I've shared with you my early experiences of having special needs and dyslexia, and then also, my mum's involvement as well, very, very young age, going from like early years, toddler. And then I talked about my transition from primary school to secondary school because it is quite different. That transition is a huge transition for a young person, for a child. And then obviously going toward the end of school. Now, I really, really do hope that everything that I've shared with you today has kind of sparked back your own memories, sparked your personal experiences. I really would love to hear from you. I want to connect more and more with different dyslexics, different global dyslexics as well, especially because I know in different countries, across different cultures, it may differ, like the way we show up, the way we get support in neurodiverse communities. Even that neurodiverse, that title alone doesn't exist in other countries, guys. Like I'm talking here from a British perspective only today. But yeah, I really wanted to share that. And what I want to do, I really want to talk about adulthood now. I want to go on to like today as an adult in 2022 or over the past few years because everything's changed. Okay, my childhood days are over, guys. Now entering into the big bad world in the workplace, and I am a trained dancer. I went to study and training dance. I'm a lover of performing arts, and not just dance, but theatre, as well, and producing and community arts like festivals. So all of that kind of area I've worked in, I've got experience in, which is totally different from school, from university. I want to go on to talk about that because being an adult with dyslexia is so much different. And all I want to say is that being an adult with dyslexia can have its challenges. I'll talk about that in the next episode, in the next clip, guys. Not today. I think I've said so much today. I've talked longer than I expected to, but I don't care, guys. I'm going to say it for what it is. I just wanted to hop on, get the mic out, get the headphones out, and talk from the heart. Thank you so much for listening to my experience with dyslexia. This is only part one, okay? And I'm going to split these up into different parts and I'll give you a bit of a sneak peek, but expect more from me. That's right. Talking about my dyslexic experience. I'm going to talk more about, like I said, adulthood in the workforce and then also as a dancer in the performing arts world too. Let's get my mum on board too. Like my parents, both of them are actually dyslexic. And I should have said at the start, the fun facts, that it is genetics, by the way. It can be passed down. So my parents are both dyslexic. They can speak for themselves, but they're both very different. I bet my mum and dad are listening right now. If you are, hey. And secondly, correct me if I'm wrong here, but from my outlook, the way I see my parents' dyslexia is that my father, please don't be offended when I say this, but I think it may enlighten other people listening right now, is that I found my father may struggle like with handwriting. He's left-handed, by the way. I'm right-handed. My dad's left-handed. Is it? There he is. Like handwriting, maybe kind of like the confidence to use the voice as well, to ask for what he needs. But I think that's the same with other people with dyslexia. I've noticed there could be that lack of confidence or just really saying things, or may feel like, oh, I don't know how to pronounce it, or I don't know how to articulate what I'm trying to say. That all comes under the umbrella of dyslexia. So many people go through that too, so that's fine. And I've saw that. That's my observation of my father. However, I think he's very, very good at maths, like a wizard at maths. When I was younger, and still today as an adult, I see my dad with this little notebook, like, because he works for himself, and he would write down like how much things are, or how long, what things would be to do something, and it's writing down all these numbers. And I'm like, what's this? What the hell is this? And my dad would have like a little mini notebook of all these numbers, like calculating. Like, Dad, where's the calculator? How did you calculate this like that quickly? And I'm like, my dad's a wizard at maths. So this is dyslexia. You could be really strong in one area, really good, then other areas maybe a weakness and other areas to improve on, which is fine. That's being a human. And then my mother, for instance, me and my mother don't agree with maths. We both have maths anxiety. It's both like, we're gonna go back to college and do maths, and then we do it again and try again, and it's a struggle to just get numbers to stick. So me and my mum got the same with maths anxiety. Oh, there goes my laptop, almost dying. Never mind. And then what I could say, my mum obviously struggles with reading and spelling as well. So reading and spelling is the area of my mum's dyslexia comes through and shines through. The reason why I wanted to share that is because obviously the fun fact is, I don't know if it's a fun fact, but a fact of dyslexia, that it is genetic. So my parents have got it, but they're very, very different in their own dyslexic experience, in their livelihoods, you know, childhood to adulthood as well. I don't know that part. And I just thought it may be interesting to hear from you guys if there's anyone in your family who has dyslexia. Anyway, I'm going to stop right there today. Thank you so much for listening right to the end, and have a fabulous day or evening today, wherever you are around the world. Stay posted, because part 2, oh, here we go again.